Hi, I'm Gary Lambert, and I'm a health coach and registered nurse. And I want to talk to you about your health a little bit. I've talked about your metabolic health. Metabolic dysfunction is one element of health that's killing Americans, and then gut dysbiosis, our stomach dysbiosis, is another thing. The two of them work together because our metabolism needs building blocks. Inside each cell, we have little organelles that do different functions, but one of them is the mitochondria. You might remember back in high school, the mitochondria is the powerhouse. It's this organelle that is responsible for making ATP, which is the cellular energy that our body converts to make all of our systems and function work. Things that trigger mitochondria are activity and exercise. So as we do more activity and exercise, these organelles are triggered and they're told, hey, we need more energy. So they produce more mitochondria, which produces more energy. And so we have a very important function there that is getting interrupted or retarded because of metabolic dysfunction. What happens with metabolic dysfunction is that our blood is so we have sugar in our blood. Insulin is the hormone that's responsible for transferring the sugar from our blood into cells. As insulin resistance occurs, it takes more insulin to push the sugar into the cells. Insulin is going to put sugar into the cells no matter what. And at that point, if it doesn't get used, it's get turned into fat. So the insulin is pushing this sugar into the cell and converting it into fat. And these cells are getting so full of fat that they can't function. It's just like, I don't know, I guess if you can imagine a hamster ball and you have your little hamster running around inside that ball, but you just keep stuffing cotton in there and stuffing cotton in there. Eventually that little hamster just can't run because it's the same with our cells. And maybe that was a ridiculous comparison, but it's what I got. But anyway, so that hamster can't run in there anymore. Well, that's what's happening with our cells. And as these cells are getting crammed packed, they stop producing efficient energy. These little mitochondria can't move around. They're not getting anything. They're just all crammed in there with these fat molecules. And that's happening and to the point where the other place where sugar gets converted into fat is our liver. And some studies say that things like sucralose produces almost 200 times the amount of energy that glucose does. And so if you think about it, what that means that even if you were a triathlete, somebody who is hyperactive, who's doing these long, even they cannot burn that level of energy. It's just too much energy for the body. So our liver is converting that into fat. And this incidence of increased fatty liver disease is a new thing. And it actually corresponds, if you were to look at the food industry and how its use of processed foods has gone up, the diabetic curve, everything follows this curve, and it's almost undeniable. But it's not, what do they call it? It is anecdotal evidence. There's no direct link, but it all lines up. But we see this incidence of diabetes, fatty liver disease, and sugar consumption, just ultra processed sugar. They all follow this line. And even if you go as far as even the use of sunscreen and all of these industrial products, as their use went up, so has our sickness, obesity, diabetes, and everything. So the anecdotal evidence is there. But what I want to tell you is that when we're talking about getting healthy, we have to look at what we're putting in our body first and foremost. If we want to be healthy, we have to start with healthy cells. So we have to start looking at our diets and figure out how to change the diet, not to restrict calories, not to create bad food habits where you hate doing something because you've restricted it so much. So many diets cause us to have unhealthy relationships with food because of that restriction or because of the nature of the diet. But the truth is we can really eat whatever we want in moderation. A little of this, a little of that. I mean, our exposure to the environment probably causes more problems than a Snickers bar here and there. But the thing is that we can't have a Snicker bar every day, every meal, whenever we want it. And once you get healthy, you'll start to realize that you'll see that Snickers in a different light. You'll see it and realize that it's chock full of poisons and that you can get away with eating one of our many healthy, natural bananas, even dark chocolate, just these things that are natural that actually give us benefit, that are actually antioxidants, that have a little bit of caffeine for that pick you up, that also triggers some of those dopamine responses that we've gotten so used to through processed foods. So if you're ready to change your relationship with food, if you're ready to get healthy, because even with diet and nutrition changes, we still need activity in our life, getting out in the sun, walking barefoot in the grass, taking time to be appreciative. People who are appreciative of what they have also have lower stress rates. So it's figuring out ways to incorporate a wholeness in your wellness. So stay tuned, watch later. I'll try to cover all of these. Our goal is to be healthier. We're not diagnoses. We're not sick because we're failures or we don't have willpower. The truth is our environment is working against us, and we have to acknowledge that and understand that when we're dealing with food, that food has been made addictive. And whether we want to say it or not, most of us are addicted. And some of us know our inner voice tells us you're addicted to Diet Coke. You're addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper, and we know it, and we still do it. And that's okay, because you have to work through it. And we can do that. You just stay tuned, and we'll try to conquer all these things together. Thank you.